Now we're learning the Dvar Malchut, a speech given by the Lubavitcher Rebbe in 1992, when the month of Adar was on the horizon. Month of Adar was on the horizon. Then the month of Adar, it began on Tuesday and Wednesday. So the Rebbe had one paragraph here that talked about that. What happens, the special significance of Tuesday and Wednesday. This year it doesn't. This year it's on Friday and Shabbos. This coming Friday is going to be Rosh Chodesh, and Shabbos is also 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. Okay. Mainly, what's the Rebbe telling us about? The Rebbe is telling us about the building of the tabernacle. The building of the tabernacle was made from donations of the Jewish people. And the first donation that God requested, even though there were 15 different materials used to make the tabernacle, the first one that he requested was gold. And everybody could bring it. So the Rebbe asked the question, how could it be that the tabernacle was a big novelty? It was actually a physical building that revealed God. You had to have special materials only from special people. So the Rebbe, every Jew is special. At Mount Sinai, every Jew became gold. And that's why gold was the first thing that God asked for. To tell you that every single Jew is gold, and gold, the first letters of Zeh HaNoten Bari, that our job is to give and to improve the world in a healthy way. And when we are in a happy and a healthy way, that's the purpose of the Jewish people. And that especially is relevant to the month of Adar, when it says that the whole month of Adar is a month which is transforms bad to good, transforms all the bad things in the world, all the negative things in the world, not just that it avoids them or destroys them, but it transforms them to good. And that shows on the goal of the whole temple and the tabernacle, that the whole world should be transformed into what it really is. All the potential, the good potential of the world should be transformed to good. And the potential, which is inside of an evil genuinely is only because good is not revealed. When good is revealed, then that almost totally does away with evil in the world. Almost totally does away with evil. It could be there's one aspect of evil which is called Amalek, and Amalek, it says, has to be totally destroyed. And even then, there's some good in it. It says that the king told Haman to take the garments and give them to Mordechai. Maybe we'll learn that next week. So it also has some sort of a purposes in the future. The primordial serpent will be a servant to God. It's a Shamash Gadol he's going to be. So the Rebbe points out that the fact that we're learning about the tabernacle and the fact that we're waiting for the third temple, which is supposed to be any moment, and the fact that the tabernacle was given, the donations were given by Jews, and every Jew is holy, special, because it was after giving of the Torah, and we're also after giving of the Torah, right? With, 3,300 years after the giving of the Torah, so we're also holy. And we're coming into the month of Adar, which is the month of Adar when all bad is transformed. And so what can we learn from all this? Learning, what can we learn from this? L'kol Rosh, first of all, we have to learn that God, Kodesh Baruch Hu, Posek, has declared the Torah Tokadusha in his holy Torah. Torah Nitzchitz, and the Torah is eternal. The Kol Adorot, for all generations and all places. Right? The Torah was the blueprint of the world. The world means time, place. That's the world. Before the world was created, before God used the Torah to create the world, there was no time, there was no place, there was no spirit. The Torah is the blueprint for the whole thing. So obviously it's relevant to all time and all place. What the Torah declares and the Torah decides and announces that each and every Jew is relevant, first of all, to be gold. But Pashtus, what does it mean? That every single Jew has to be simply rich, whether spiritually rich and even physically rich. Physically rich, really. Now, a person that's really rich has a lot of money, right? What does it mean you're rich? You have, let's say, $100 million in the bank. Now, a person that's really devoted to God, what does he use that money for? $100 million. Let's say $100 million. It's a lot of money. What does he use it for? So I think we all know that the people in America, maybe the whole world is like this, when they win the lottery, they win, what's it called? Powerball and all these other lotteries. Whatever. So the person, they win, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $100 million. What do they do with it? They go crazy. It always 99% something like that. It ends in tragedy. You look it up. People go berserk. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with the money. Why? Buy a nice car. How much does a really, really nice car cost? A really nice car. Let's say you want a Rolls Royce, a Ferrari, whatever it is, a Borghini made from solid gold with diamonds in it. With this, it costs $10 million. Yeah, a car costs $10 million, right? So it costs $10 million. So you still have $90 million left. What are you going to do with this money? What are you going to do with it? Huh? And every day to keep this, to keep the upkeep of the car, it's going to, okay, so you buy a house. Oh, you buy a house, $10 million house. Gee, that's a big house you got with 50 rooms in the house. What are you going to do with all the rooms? Okay, then you start to buy food. And you buy steak. Then you have parties. Oh, and now the trouble begins. You make parties, you have friends, you want to impress your friends, you buy everybody a car. A new car, you buy a friend. No. You're out of your money in a few months. That's it. And then you start gambling. Who knows what you do? All these people that they win the money, they don't know what to do with it. Why? Why they don't know what to do with it? Because they think it's all for themselves. It's all for themselves. How big can a person be? How many steaks can you eat? How many cars can you own? How many cars can you use? So they want it all for themselves. That's the problem. But if a person is really, truly devoted to God, so he wants the money for what God wants. What does God want money for? What does he want for? To give to the poor, to increase learning Torah, to increase the 7 Noahide commandments, to give charity. Oh, you want to give charity? Then 100 million is not enough. You have to have more. And here we said everybody's going to be rich. They're going to be rich. So, you know what? $1 billion. $1 billion. I'm going to give charity. You're going to give charity. Yes, you know how many people need money, how many people need food. Not only that, you go around, you just give out money to people. Go in the middle of the streets of India or someplace like that and start giving out, $10 bills to people. Your money will be finished in an hour. Everybody just $1 billion, nothing, right? So what do? You have to make plans. You build schools. You have to build hospitals. You have to do good things to people. You have to educate people. You have to this, that. Your $1 billion is gone in a second. $100 billion. $100 billion you get together. Eventually, it's going to be that if you educate the whole world, that everybody, we reveal potential. We have no idea what amazing potential is found in every human being that lives in Africa. Africa, the United Nations cares about these people. Black people, what do we care about them? It's sick. Every person there is a treasure house of good, of knowledge, of things you never dreamed of, right? And they never dreamed of it either because they weren't educated. So you start educating people, and then all of a sudden the whole world becomes rich. It becomes rich in good. It becomes rich in love. People love each other. Oh, that's what it means that all the Jews are gold. The Jews are supposed to instigate this whole thing. They're supposed to direct the whole thing. First of all, every Jew has to be rich. Has to have money, a billionaire. And every Jew has to use the money for what the source of money wants. God is the one who's giving us the money. So every Jew has to be rich physically. The Yeterim even more. I remember there was a story with the Lubavitcher Rebbe, right? So somebody bought the Lubavitcher Rebbe a car. The Lubavitcher Rebbe had a Cadillac. He used to drive to he used to go to especially he would go to the cemetery to visit the grave of his father-in-law, to pray there, right? Just like this, he would go to the grave of his father. That was mainly where he went. He didn't go anywhere else. And he had a Cadillac. A Cadillac was, who knows, a Cadillac, maybe it's 20 years old, 30 years old. I don't know. A Cadillac. So somebody decided that's not nice. The Rebbe has to have a new Cadillac. So he bought the Rebbe a new Cadillac, nice new Cadillac. So the Rebbe came out and they said, surprise. The Rebbe said, hey, where's my car? And he said, somebody bought you a new car. He said, but what was wrong with the old car? I like that car. He said, there was nothing wrong with it. There was something wrong. He said, no, there was nothing wrong, but this is a new car. The Rebbe said, well, I mean, but there was nothing wrong with the old one. What was wrong with the old car? You know, come on, the Rebbe has to have a bigger car, a nice car. The other car was good. The guy said, use the old car, right? A person that's truly rich, he doesn't think about himself. What is practical? He wants to use. What's the problem? Oh, it was a nice car. It could even be, it's a vintage car now, right? The Rebbe, it was 20 years old. How old was it? A Cadillac. And it says, that's what it means. Every Jew is supposed to be rich. And you use the money for what God wants you to use the money for. Lozu bilavad, not only that it has to be for his, but every Jew has to have actual richness. Afilu im zel lo nimtza begilui begashmis, even though you don't find it physically, ein zeh mishum, it's not because it doesn't exist. Ela mishum sheyehudi tzorich legalot, you just have to reveal that you really are rich by means of your service of God. It's waiting for you. Adarabah. Al yadesha megalim zot, by means of you reveal this within the darkness of the world. This naseh ba'ofen the yitron or min hachoshech. Then suddenly the money becomes more valuable. That's one of the reasons why these people who win the lottery, they don't do good. It doesn't come up because it comes too easy. They didn't work for it. They don't really appreciate it. They don't know the real value of what reality is. All of a sudden he gets the money from nowhere. The guy thinks, wow, that's it's coming to me. Tosefes riboy shel shefa, but when your riches come from the darkness, you have to serve the Creator more and more, and then the money comes unexpectedly, right? Unexpectedly. Then you realize, no, the money is coming from God. That's what's called coming from the darkness. The darkness of the world, it comes from from this comes a tremendous blessing. Just like putting seeds into the ground, right? You figure that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. What are you burying the seeds for? And all of a sudden it grows up, right? It's an amazing miracle. The same thing as you put effort into the world and learning Torah, doing good deeds, and God rewards you, but often in a way of tigbor sachayos. There becomes a flood of blessing in the world only for good. Until it transforms also the bad things into good and holiness. Oh, like there was the flood that destroyed the world with Noah. There's also going to be a flood, but it'll be a flood of awareness of God. That's what it says. That's going to be eventually what says the world will be filled with the awareness of God like water fills the ocean. How much more so in our generation, says the Rebbe, our generation is the last generation of exile and the first generation of the geula, of the redemption. After we've already finished everything, says the Rebbe, everything is finished. Everyone has done tshuva enough. All we have to do is just accept the face of the Moshiach. That's all. Hari Bavadai, so certainly that God will bless each and every Jew with tremendous richness. Excuse me. Not just physical gold, not just spiritual gold, but physical gold. And look, it's interesting now that the in America, Trump, he wants to investigate how much gold there really is in the gold reserves of America. They have big suspicions that a lot of it is not there. Gold, odd until open in a way, so it will be big miracles. There won't be any one of a Jew that doesn't have what says over there. When the Jews left Egypt, they had, it says 90 Liberian donkeys, which are supposed to be tremendously powerful. Every single Jew had 90 donkeys carrying their silver and their gold that they took out of Egypt. And there's a story that what is it, 800, 900 years later, afterwards, that the Egyptians demanded their money back. It says in the Torah, you took all this money back. And the Jews said, well, listen, there were about 15 million Jews in Egypt, and they worked at hard labor for 210 years. So divide that up, how much you should give the person, and you didn't give them anything. They didn't give any wages at all. So how much wages should they get? Make a calculation, and the Egyptians ran away. They ran away. In any case, every Jew had laden donkeys with truckloads of diamonds and jewels, and with it. Mikach, there is also another teaching. Okay, first teaching, every Jew has to be rich spiritually, but even physically. Number two, Yehudi tzorech laishtadel, a Jew has to try to be rich in everything he does. Beginning, first of all, rich spiritually. Ein ashir elabadat. Being rich means that you feel that you are with God and God is with you. Liot ashir b'Torah and mitzvahs. Therefore, you want to learn Torah and do the commandments. How fortunate we are to do Torah commandments. I have a very good friend here in Kfar Chabad. He's had a lot of troubles in his life. It doesn't make it, and he became very, very sort of down and depressed. He called me up. What am I going to do? So I said, listen, we go out every Friday and we put tefillin on people, right? He says, yeah, I go out also. I go out. He said, but I have this problem and that problem. I said, one second. When a person doesn't want to put on tefillin and you say to him, please do it for me, whatever, and he puts on tefillin, aren't you happy? So he said, yeah, sure, of course. It makes you feel good. A Jew is doing what a Jew is supposed to do, putting on tefillin. It's a good thing. So I said, well, you put on tefillin every day. Aren't you happy? He said, well, no. I said, well, you should be. He said, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. Right? Everything that's in the commandments, namely, you're doing what God wants. God is creating you for free. He's giving you eyes for free. He's giving you ears. Even if you do all the sins in the world, He's creating you. He's giving you life. He's giving you consciousness. So do something for free. You're serving the Creator. You should be happy. He says, yeah, you're right. Thanks a lot. That's it. We should be happy when we do a commandment. We're rich. Odd God, until I remember there used to be a fellow in when I learned in yeshiva, and he used to say, we're rich. He's right. Good. I'll just start saying that. Ashiris v'gashmis, physically rich, in order that we'll be able to do Torah and commandments, not just spiritually rich, but also physically rich. You'll have a car that works. You'll have a house that works, right? You won't have debts. And you'll be able to take guests into your house. You'll be able to give charity. And you'll be able to live what's in a calm way, menuchas aguf, and your body will be healthy and calm. But yochel harbos, then you can also give charity, and you can also do more commandments. And you can do the commandments even better, and especially it'll be do things specially for the Creator. Like it says, every single Jew will be a holy temple. God said, "I will dwell in them," including also by means of giving charity to building the synagogues around you and the places of learning, simply where you are. And even more, and this is the main thing, in the time, this is something which is now very timely and important, building the third temple actually. How do we build the third temple? I thought God is supposed to build it. It's supposed to be ready. We'll see. After all the Perushim explains, it says, Asul Migdash, make me a tabernacle, a temple, and I will dwell inside of each one of the Jews, Kolel, including that God said, we have to build a third temple. But it says also that every Jew is a holy temple. The simple meaning is that we have to do everything we can to learn about and make the third temple. In Nogea Aleinu, regarding to us, what does it mean? That we have to build the third temple. How are we going to build the third temple? Like the Rambam says, it will be built only by Moshiach. Moshiach will come, he'll build the third temple. According to the words of the Rambam, Maimonides says everyone is obligated that they have to help to build the temple with their money, men, women, in the like it was in the tabernacle in the desert, even children. So it's understood. So this is relevant to the third temple also. Every single Jew has to participate in this al yadei, by means of his generosity, his gifts, men, women, and we can also say children. What does that mean? Especially in our generation that we've already educated and accustomed. We're continuing this, the children, the small children, to give charity. That's what we do every day before. In addition to that we make them shluchim to get charity. We make the child You give them a dime and say, give this charity. You also give them money that they can have and tell them to use their own money. Give the child an allowance, whatever it is, every week, and say, from this, I want you to think about giving charity, in order that they can also give from their own money. They can give charity. In other words, there's a contradiction. On one hand, it says that God is going to build a third temple, but on the other hand, Maimonides says that we have to build a third temple. So what are we supposed to do? So first of all, it's agreed that the third temple is only going to be built by means of Moshiach. So Mashiach. So the Rebbe is practically saying that, listen, I'm the Mashiach. The previous Rebbe was the Mashiach. How are we going to build a temple, third temple? By doing good deeds. All the suffering that has been done by the Jewish people in these 2,000 years, and the Torah and the commandments that we've done, despite all of the opposition and difficulties, that is putting another brick in the Holy Temple. This gives them money that they can, in addition to this, you have to learn. You have to learn for the fact that when Adar comes in, you have to increase happiness. That this is an obligation for not Shabuah Bahosafa. It comes on in general the obligation that all the year you have to Ivdu et Hashem Ch'simcha. You have to serve God with happiness all the time. You always have to be happy to serve God. It's a sentence in Psalms. Right? Maybe we'll say this every day. We'll see. Psalms. You're supposed to serve God with happiness all the time. Why? Because we're serving God. We're serving the creator of the universe. That should make you happy. 1 second. Oh. Simcha and with a good heart. And Pesachtin, it says the Ramah, it says the end of the Shulchan Aruch, of Orach Chaim, Tov Leiv Mishta Tamid. You should always be in a happy, festive mood all the time. But Madnu, so now we are in the beginning of the month of Adar. And in the month of the Adar this year, the 2 days of, there's two Adars. There's Adar Rishon and Adar Sheni. By thus, it's not that way. We only have one Adar this year. In the year that the Rebbe was speaking, there was a double Adar. We talked about that. Adar was 60 days long, so to speak. There was two Adars. Like it's known that this gives a special power. Hapoteach et hatzino, the Adar opens up the door and the pipeline to joy for the whole month of Adar in this year, and it has to be enough that will, when Adar comes in, this will put joy into every it will add happiness into the happiness that already exists. So when we're doing Torah and commandments, it has to be happy. We have to be happy. Adar makes it even more happy. What's the happiness to do? That we know that we're doing what God wants. And not only that, in Adar, we have an extra feeling that it'll succeed. By means of this, that each and every Jew accepts on himself immediately a resolution, good resolutions, and brings these resolutions into actuality. So he will make an effort in all the possible ways to increase in everything that is positive and making happiness. Beginning from this day, in a way, and the Rebbe is speaking on Shabbat, in a way that is permissible on Shabbat. Don't go home and get your trumpet or something like that. It's forbidden on Shabbat. But what is permissible on Shabbat? To sing, to dance, and especially says B'yom Simchatchem, it says that these are Shabbat. Shabbat is supposed to be a happy day also. Well, afterwards, Ba'ofen, the Mosef, the Holech, Ba'or, that is continues and adds on even more. There's more even light and joy in every single day of the month of Adar. You have to add on a positive attitude and a happy attitude in everything that you do. Every day is new. It's like a new guest comes every day. According to the known principle that what that everything that's good and holy, speed, to be alacrity. There's a better word for it, a more common word. Anyway, the more speedily you do something, this is better. And everyone who increases, this is also better. And good things. How much more so that it has to be regarding to happiness. Happiness, it's a mitzvah. You have to be happy. So if so, you should be happy as soon as possible. Don't delay. And you should increase in happiness as much as possible. Like we say, we're rich. That happiness itself breaks through all barriers. And how much more so when you increase happiness in the month of Adar, how much more so in a way that all of the days, there's even an addition of happiness in regarding to the days that are before it. And simply speaking, that each and every Jew should add on in happiness, positivity, optimism, appreciation of what's good in the world, whether regarding himself, whether regarding other people. Like it's known that the happiness is mainly with other people. It's hard to be happy alone. And first of all, you have to add on with the Torah. Learning Torah, learning the revealed Torah, Talmud, Shulchan Aruch, and especially the inside of the Torah, Hasidut, Kabbalah. And learning Torah is great, is the most important thing in Judaism. Why? Because it brings the deed. You should also, when you do the commandments, you should do the commandments b'hidur. Take your tefillin and have them checked. Have the tefillin checked. Technically, you don't have to have your tefillin checked. If they look okay from the outside, you don't have to. But the Rebbe said you should have them checked, once every other year. Once every year. You should have your tefillin checked. And you find amazing things, sometimes amazing things. Yesterday, I know there was somebody, just told us, that a fellow came in. I never saw the fellow before. He came into the synagogue. And he was doing, there's a lot of people that pray in the synagogue in Kfar Chabad. There's like 5-6 minions going on all the time. And he came in, he had a broken arm. And he wanted somebody to help him. So I helped him. I put the tefillin on. And I saw that the straps of his tefillin were brown. Now, and they have to be black. It's from the Torah. It's more important that the straps are black than the boxes are black. So I saw that the straps were brown. And so I said, listen, this is not good. You have to this. So I have this little magic marker, special for tefillin, and I blackened the things in. It took me 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Blackened them. So I said, listen, if your straps are brown, it shows that you probably have not checked your tefillin, because any normal, sofer, the scribe, will change it. He said, no, I don't think I ever had them checked. So I said, okay, you have to have the tefillin checked. The Rebbe said you have to. A lot of times you check your tefillin, you find amazing things, that the tefillin were not kosher. They were never kosher. In any case, even if you're sure your tefillin are kosher, 100%, you have to have them checked. But Odin also, and this is the main thing, that by means of adding happiness in Torah and the commandments, this will express the Dvar, and this will be expressed be Murabim, b'marbim b'simcha b'pashtut, and you increase in happiness even more. Gam also in regular physical things that you have, in your health, etc. That the novelty of the month of Adar, it says the novelty is that even the luck, mazel, the physical things in the world are good. You'll have more luck in everything. Like it says, it's a law in the Shulchan Aruch that says that the month of Adar is a lucky month for the Jews. But Gam also making yourself happy, making other people happy, beginning first of all from your household. Baal Yosef, the husband, will add on in making his wife please, say nice things to her, say pleasant. Parents will make their children happy, say positive things to them, have a smiling face, have time for them, and things that make them happy, like it says in the Shulchan Aruch. And especially the father will make his children happy, as we see actually. They said that by means of this, that when you make your children feel happy and good and positive, this adds in them sometimes extra joy. Mikivan Sharoim, because they see Shalafamim Omer Mila Kasher. Sometimes if you say, sometimes you have to say a reproof of your children because of education. But afterwards, it brings to an addition of dearness to them. And it was because you love your children, so you say to your child, listen, I want you to listen to me 1 second. I want you to know that I love you. I really care about you. And therefore, that's why I want to tell you the following. You shouldn't run out in the street. You shouldn't beat up your brother. You shouldn't tell things that are not so. You should be careful. He says his child, he says a harsh word to him, but he says in a way that it comes from love. The child knows that you care about him. But Cain also, you have to add on to make other Jews happy where you are, around where you are. That by means of this, it makes you a ben olam haba. Like I said, the story with Rebbe Yeshua ben Levi, that Elijah the prophet showed him in the marketplace who's going to go to heaven. It says these two jokers that went around and they joked with everybody. Now, we're not, God forbid, talking about practical jokes that make people, that you laugh at other people's expense. Exactly the opposite. If anything, you make them laugh at your expense. Your expense. You say a good word, you say a happy word. I'll tell you maybe a short example. Yesterday, I parked my car. There wasn't much room to park a car. There wasn't much room. So I parked next to somebody. He was sitting in his car, and it didn't leave him a lot of space. It left him enough space to get out. So he had a really nice car, something, like, I don't know, a Porsche or something like that. And I parked next to him. And he said from his window, rolled his window down, and he said in sort of a funny way, but not, he said, listen, okay, so you fixed yourself up, but how am I going to get out of my car now? How am I going to get out of my car? And really, he had room to get out of his car, and he knew that he did, but he just sort of wanted to be it. So I said to him, listen, I got a solution. Let's change keys. My car is like, it's worth like, maybe $1,000, something like that, $2,000. It's a, what is it? It's 10, 12 years old, a car. It's a little car. And I said, no, let's change keys. I'll take your keys. You take my keys. And he laughed. His car is worth like, $100,000, something like a brand new Porsche. I said, I'll get your car out and you can take my car. Oh, it was that. In other words, somebody yells at you, you don't get angry. God bless you. May it be God's will that adding happiness. Well, now, some people, it's not easy for them to be happy. It's not easy. So think good thoughts. Start up by thinking good thoughts. You can't say good things to your children. You can't say it. Think good things about them, how much you love them. And you'll find that eventually you'll be able to spit out a word. I love you. What'd you say, Dad? What? It was nothing. You said you love me? Yeah, what'd you say that for? Well, I don't know. I just did it. You never said that before? You never said that? Well, I just said, well, I love you too, Dad. Oh, really? Yeah, really? Yeah. Are you serious? Yeah. One good word, you have no idea what the change it could make. You have no idea. One good word, one positive word, one compliment, one less word of what do they call it, of negativity. Okay, let's go. May it be God's will that adding in happiness will break through all of the barriers, beginning, first of all, with the last barriers, which are from the exile, and transform the whole world into a place that's good and holy. And mainly, it will break through all the barriers and the veils of the last moments that we are now in exile. That this will and it will become suddenly the first moment of redemption. That this will come by means of our deeds and our work in general, and especially if it's done in happiness, and especially if it's done the service of women, the righteous women of Israel. In their merit will come the redemption, just like it was when they left Egypt. And especially the women, the righteous women, which added on Kiddush Hashem. There was a woman in Kfar Chabad that a robber broke into her house and killed her. And the Rebbe really took this very, very to heart. God forbid, may it be God's will that this will be the last bad thing that will happen, and even individual things, and also general. From now on, it'll be only long life and good years, health years for each and every Jew, and not just, and all of the Jews, men, women, and children, in health, and especially this month, which is a lucky month, a healthy month, it says, the month of Adar, It will be health in physical and spiritual. Until ad she'ovrim believe hefsek, that it will pass over without any a delay whatsoever to what's called the raising of the dead, eternal life in the gula v'mitis v'shlema. Death is an extra thing. The merit of this woman that was killed in Crown Heights, only because she's a Jew, only because she's a Jewish woman, right? May her merit stand for every Jew, and certainly for her herself, beginning to kavar yiyeh, that there will only be what's called hekitzu v'yiranu shoknei ofer, that they will wake up and rejoice those who sleep in the ground. Sentence from where? From Isaiah. From Isaiah. Says that all of the dead people will rise up. That tzaddikim and tzadkanios, and it says that the righteous ones will raise up first. All the soldiers that gave their lives for the Jewish people. And in place of this, instead of the mourning and talking about terrible things and the tragedies that happen, our mouths will be filled with joy, the language of the Psalms, and our songs will be, and our tongues will be filled with song, and especially by means of making the preparation and a vessel for this, by means of being happy now. And something like Malay Schokpino, it will be in the future. And by means of doing the commandments in general, and especially by means of tefillin, putting on tefillin, that tefillin will be badach tova. It says that by means of this, it'll be like the two men that went in the marketplace, that they make everybody happy. Me'ayin de Malay Schokpino, that our mouths will be filled with joy, especially by going and putting tefillin on people, and especially when in our generation, we're the generation of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's the leader of our generation, that his name is Yosef Yitzchak, adding on joy. This hints at an addition in tzchok, joy, happiness, glee, simcha, and positivity. And all the Jewish people, our youth, ben arenu, our elders, ben banenu, our sons, our daughters. That's the language which was used when they left Egypt. Yachad, together with all their money and all their gold, with them. Don't worry about it. You're going to leave America. You're going to leave your big house. You're going to leave your bank account. Don't worry. You'll take your money with you, because money is holy. The physical world is holy. Together with all of the synagogues and all the places of learning, that they'll all somehow or other fly to the land of Israel, to Jerusalem, the holy country, the holy land, the holy city, Jerusalem, the holy mountain, and to the holy house, the Beit HaMikdash, the third temple, immediately right now.